are ready for a president, Kamala Harris.
Barack and Michelle Obama have been in the spotlight this election year as they've cheered on their pick for president, Kamala Harris. Access Hollywood is breaking down the Obama's moments getting involved in the Harris campaign so far. From DNC speeches to fashion connections, heartfelt social media posts, and even some rapping.
Vomit on my sweater already? Mom's spaghetti?
It all started when Joe Biden announced in July that he was stepping down from his 2024 campaign and would not be seeking re-election, instead endorsing Vice President Harris. Following the news, former President Obama released a statement supporting Biden and his decision, writing in part, "For him to look at the political landscape and decide that he should pass the torch to a new nominee is surely one of the toughest in his life. But I know he wouldn't make this decision unless he believed it was right for America," calling Biden's choice, quote, "a historic example of a genuine public servant once again putting the interests of the American people ahead of his own." Days later, he and Michelle revealed that they were backing Kamala for the nomination, sharing a video of the phone call they gave her to break the news.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Michelle also shared her love and pride for the VP over the phone.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
Kamala was touched by their kind words and made sure to let them know.
Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
The following month, Kamala announced her pick for vice president, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and he got the same love from the Obamas. They wrote in part in a joint statement on social media, "Like Vice President Harris, Governor Walz believes that government works to serve us, not just some of us, but all of us. That's what makes him an outstanding governor, and that's what will make him an even better vice president, ready on day one. Michelle and I couldn't be happier for Tim and Gwen, their family, and our country." 2 weeks later, the 2024 Democratic National Convention kicked off. President Biden spoke on night one and called selecting Kamala as his own VP the best decision he made in his career.
She's tough, she's experienced, and she has enormous integrity, enormous integrity. Her story represents the best American story. And like many of our best presidents, she was also vice president. That's a joke.
Biden, of course, was Obama's VP. And after the speech, Barack reflected on his former running mate's words and their friendship, writing on Instagram, "What I admire most about Joe is his decency, his resilience, and his unshakable belief in the promise of our country. Over the last 4 years, those are the values America has needed most. I am proud to call him my president, and I'm so grateful to call him my friend." Obama also posted on social media about another standout moment on night one of the DNC, Kamala's fashion statement. The vice president stepped out in a tan pantsuit from Chloe that got everybody talking. The suit was made in the color coconut brown, which many suspected was a nod to her much-memed coconut tree remark. But the fashion moment was also seen as a nod to Obama, who nearly a decade ago sparked some controversy with his own tan suit, when some conservative figures argued at the time that it wasn't a suitable look for his press conference. As people were drawing the connection, Obama playfully posted a side-by-side on Instagram of his look and Kamala's, writing, "How it started, how it's going. 10 years later, and it's still a good look." Many flooded the comments with their reactions, including some celebrities. Journey Smollett wrote in all caps, "I am here for both of these iconic moments." While Christy Brinkley commented, "Integrity and tan suits never go out of style." Rita Wilson chimed in, "Who wore it best? It's a tie." And Oprah's website, Oprah Daily, wrote, "Reclaiming the tan suit." On day 2 of the DNC, it was time for Barack to make his own speech. But first, the crowd heard from his wife, Michelle. The former First Lady spoke to the audience about the value system she and the nominee were both raised with.
Even though our mothers grew up an ocean apart, they shared the same belief in the promise of this country. That's why her mother moved here from India at 19. It's why she taught Kamala about justice, about the obligation to lift others up, about our responsibility to give more than we take. She'd often tell her daughter, "Don't sit around and complain about things, do something." My girl, Harris is more than ready for this moment. She is one of the most qualified people ever to seek the office of the presidency. And she is one of the most dignified. A tribute to her mother, to my mother, and to your mother too. The embodiment of the stories we tell ourselves about this country. Her story is your story. It's my story. It's the story of the vast majority of Americans trying to build a better life.
Michelle also used her speech to take aim at the Republican nominee, former President Trump, and his rhetoric toward her and Barack.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Who's gonna tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Michelle's quip went viral fast, a reference to Trump's debate claim that immigrants are, quote, taking black jobs. Michelle concluded her DNC speech by giving a loving intro to her husband.
Let me tell you, as someone who lives with him, he wakes up every day, and thinks about what's best for this country. Please welcome America's 44th president and the love of my life, Barack Obama.
They shared a sweet hug as he took the stage. And as the former president began his remarks, he made a self-deprecating joke.
I am feeling ready to go. Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama.
He went on to share why he was feeling optimistic about Harris and the forthcoming election.
I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible. We have a chance to elect someone who has spent her entire life trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you.
Barack took on Trump in his speech, arguing that the Republican nominee wasn't losing sleep over questions about Americans' future.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
During his speech, Obama also shared support for Kamala's VP pick, Tim Walz.
I love this guy. Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet, and they have been through some stuff.
It was the following night that Walz took the stage for a speech of his own and got such a warm reaction from his son, Gus.
Hope, Gus, and Gwen, you are my entire world, and I love you.
Many found Gus's heartwarming show of emotion moving, while others who poked fun at the teen received swift backlash on social media. Michelle was among those who spoke out in support of Gus and his love for his father, writing, "I was touched to see Gus Walz's joy when his dad Tim Walz took the stage last night. Thankful for you showing us all what real love looks like, Gus. Let's be a nation that embraces this kind of warmth and vulnerability instead of making fun or mocking it. We could all use some of Gus's example in our own lives." Weeks after the DNC, the Obamas continued their support on debate night. Barack took to social media post-debate and shared a clip from Harris's closing statement.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us.
He captioned the video with this assessment. Tonight, we saw firsthand who has the vision and strength to move this country forward instead of dividing us. Kamala Harris will be a president for all Americans. Let's get to work. As the election neared, Barack supported Kamala in multiple stops on the campaign trail, speaking at rallies in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Nevada. He also took the stage in Michigan, where he was introduced by Detroit native and Harris supporter Eminem. As he began his speech, he reflected on following the rap icon, and even worked in the lyrics to Lose Yourself.
I have done a lot of rallies, so I don't usually get nervous. But I was feeling some kind of way following Eminem. I mean, I notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. Dun, 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 dun. I thought Eminem was going to be performing. I was going to jump out. Love me some Eminem.